Sorry about that, guys. I had my microphone muted. Um, Dumbass me, I didn't even know it. So back to what I was saying before I realized the microphone is muted. Um, Back in the day, um, if you wanted to be seen and you wanted to be heard, you went out to the great state of California, and you you kind of put all your eggs in one basket. You went out there, and you kind of went for it all. And it's I feel like when I was a kid, that was kind of a legend, even by those standards. I feel like that might have been true, that you got noticed in like the 30s and 40s. Like that might have been true. That you that you got that you got noticed then, because there really wasn't anything else going on at the time. I mean, the bigger cities like New York and Dallas, Chicago, those type cities. Um, but your big movies, Hollywood was the place to be. The city and all that. The big Hollywood sign. The glamour, the glitz, whatever. Um, but that being said, fast forward to the late 80s, early 90s, and I feel like the city of Hollywood, if you wanted to make it be a big star, I feel like going out there, I feel like that was kind of just not the case, or maybe it was starting to wind down. The internet was starting to pick up, um, and I think it was probably the last remnants of the 30s and 40s. Of course, you still had, you still went out there, you know, you wanted to make yourself known, you wanted to be the biggest, indie star or whatnot, underground. Um, you headed out to California. My brother Dan, he went out there several times to try to make it big. Um, and then every couple of years, he'd come back to California, or I mean, he'd come back to Kansas. So he was known mostly for going to California. Of course, he loved the environment, whatnot, and that's fine. But his dreams originally was go to California, make it big. In today's society, and I feel like with the invention of the internet has really put a damper on the Hollywood thing. How we doing, Jim's Landscape? Thanks for joining me this morning, man. This won't be a lot. This won't be a long live stream. Um, this is just something that I was thinking of. Um, so it won't be a very long one, I don't believe. But I feel as if maybe mid 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, with the invention of the internet, um, and the accessibility of people discovering each other online, I feel like that really started poking holes in the boat of Hollywood. Going to today's society, where we have YouTube, we have um, so many platforms that you can put yourself on. You no longer have to go to Hollywood and get your demo out there. You no longer have to make yourself heard out there. It's so easy to put yourself out there at the tips of everyone's, in touch of everyone's fingertips per se. Um, it's easy to make yourself heard or seen. Um, it's almost too easy. Almost to the point where people just kind of ignore you because there's so much of it out there. Um, Again, it's, Hollywood. I don't feel like I don't feel like it has the same effect that it once had. The glamour and the bright lights and all that. I don't feel like it has that same effect where you go out there and you're made into a star. I don't feel like that's the case now. Especially when you can go on YouTube and you know the coolest video that has a million fucking hits turns you into a star overnight, or a popular video that's edited all on your iPhone that's uploaded to YouTube gets, popular for some dumb fucking reason. Um, None of that has anything to do with Hollywood. It just has to do with whatever's popular at the time. Um, so I feel that I don't really feel like the Hollywood crowd is as important as it used to be. Um, you know, when I was younger, that used to be a thing, and I just don't think that it is anymore. I feel like it's one of those things that's we think it is, but it's simply not. I mean, I think there's a lot more of it, in terms of the you know they have that environment, but I don't think it's needed there. Um, it's like when it's like those places that you go into the old city, and it's like you just see it all run down and there's just nothing left of the old city. It's like a bunch of abandoned places that says for rent, and it's got like maybe one or two mom and pop shops, and then everything else is for rent, one shop open, for rent, one shop open, for rent, and there's just nothing there anymore. And I feel like that's kind of like how Hollywood is. I would be surprised if in 50 years that Hollywood is anything, really anything. Um, I mean, tourist attractions aside, I mean, really, what does it do besides house, the actors that do the movies? Um, I mean, even look at those. Um, it's a place that people do some business, but I mean, they don't do business like they used to do. It used to be businesses, you used to film in Hollywood. Now we go to Vancouver because it's cheaper, or we go to they go to Georgia to film there because it's cheaper. We go to all these other places because it's cheaper. We put all of our stuff on streaming, um, because it's free, it's available, and none of that has anything to do with um, none of it has anything to do with Hollywood connections. It has to do with reaching out to each other. you know um, what's up, Captain Truck? How we doing, man? Good to hear from you, man. Good to see you. Thank you for coming up this morning. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's just one of those things where, like I said, I don't think that okay, yeah, sure. Dennis Campanero vlog. Um, if you go check out his channel, see if it's something you guys are interested in. I'm not really sure what's on his channel. I So yeah, go check him out. See what's on his channel. See if it's something you guys like. So, what's up, Ian? How we doing, man? Thanks for joining me this morning, Ian. I appreciate it, brother. Jeremy, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining me. But like I said, I don't think that like modern entertainment has really much of anything to do with the Hollywood. like I said, it has its purpose. Like I said, it's kind of, to me, it kind of reminds me of like a rundown old downtown where, you see the occasional mom and pop shop, but there's nothing really of value unless it's something specific that you need. Um, I'd be surprised, like I said, in 50 years if it's still there in the terms of what we think of. Um, because it's just not anything of value there that I see. Not in terms of entertainment, because I can tell you, I can't think of anything um, that I watch that is, at least on a regular basis, that is Hollywood produced. Everything I watch is YouTube. Um, the last thing I watched that's on a regular basis is Doctor Who. um, and before that, I think I watched the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Um, outside that, it was months ago, and that was The Office. Um, I simply just don't watch much, if any, corporate entertainment. Like I mostly on a daily basis, I watch YouTube shit all the time, documentaries, um, you know, entertainment stuff that you guys produce. I find it more entertaining. I find it, um, enlightening. I find it more real. Um, you know, Captain Chuck asks how I'm doing. I'm doing pretty good. Um, you know, um, can't complain. I got my health, so there's that. So I'm doing pretty good. So, but yeah, so that's all I really have to say, is just my thoughts on Hollywood. I was thinking about that earlier, and I just think they're kind of hanging on to something that's not really there. I mean, it is, but it's not like it was in the 1930s. Something that's almost 100 years old at this point. It's certainly not. I mean, look at it for yourself. Look how it was the happening place to be, 90 years ago, and it's simply not that now. I mean, fuck, look at the internet, how it was, 20 years ago. you know, um, back when we had, Napster, and downloading there. I mean, the internet's changed dramatically, let alone how a physical place has changed in 90 years. I mean, life is constantly changing. So I think we have those preconceived notions, that it's still the happening place to be, and that's simply just not the case. Um, so again, my main point, circling back around to what I am always saying, don't rely on other people and other people's preconceived notions to get you where you want to be. If you want to entertain people, be entertaining. Post what you enjoy, post what you enjoy doing, and don't focus on the numbers. Focus on what makes you happy. Um, that's what I do. I very seldom look at the numbers. I don't really care. I care more about interacting with my audience. It makes me happy, and it shows. It shows both in my attitude to doing what I want to do, and it shows in your guys' attitude and how you respond. Um, and those are things that you just can't, put a money value on, like the corporate sellouts, and that's why I think that, the reality of what we all do, will outlast what Hollywood, currently has to offer, because most people in Hollywood do not listen. That's why most people do fall back on what we provide. So, yeah. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. With that in mind, be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on, guys.